Hello, I'm North Hempstead Town Supervisor Judy Bosworth, and I, along with our town board, are proud to present At Home with North Hempstead, a series of special programs for children, seniors, as well as entertainment for residents of all ages. We hope you enjoy this special presentation and check back often for new content.
Hey everybody, it's Erik the Reptile Guy. Welcome to our program. I'm really excited to share with you all about the animals we're going to see today. Today's going to be an amazing day. It's actually an amazing day every single day. However, it's especially amazing because we're sharing animals out in the wild today. So we're in our studio right now. However, we're going to venture off into the wild and get an opportunity to see some amazing amphibians, including 3 different species. However, before we see the species, it's time for us to do the pledge, and we're going to be doing pledges all throughout the show, so get ready. So the pledge we're going to do is to make sure that you always follow your dreams and do your very best to use earth-friendly things. So everybody raise your right hand and say, I promise to always do my very best to use earth-friendly things and follow my dreams. So make sure you always follow your dreams, do your best to use earth-friendly things, and life is going to be wonderful if you do that. So make sure you do that. Now with that said, we're going to jump right into our program. And I also want to just mention too, I know we're in the middle of, they're calling a lockdown. However, use this time wisely and make sure that you're able to focus on the beautiful things that you love to do. Make sure you focus on your dream, on your love, on your passion, and make sure you just focus on that, and then just that it'll be wonderful. That's what I'm doing. Anyway, let's get to it. So today we're gonna see 3 different species, but before we do, let's do a little trivia to see if you all can guess what it is right now. Okay, you all, so let's bring our dry erase marker right over here. All right, so today, right now, we're gonna observe 3 different animals, and I wanna see if you can guess what they are. So I'm gonna give you some clues, and after the clues, we're gonna write the animal's name down on here. And let's just see if we can guess. Hold on, let's just get situated here. Let's get situated. We're gonna put this in front of the frog, okay? So here we go. All right, this is our special green marker that we're gonna use just for this purpose. And the first animal that we're gonna see today starts with the letter N, all right? And it's an amphibian, all right? So just to give you a quick recap of what amphibians are. So we should definitely know what an amphibian is. So let's just do a really quick recap. So it starts with an N, all right? First letter is an N, okay? And actually, the N is the actual name in the scientific name and in the common name. So for both. So it's really kind of cool. So it actually, let's bring it to the center. So yeah, so it starts with an N. Right? And so we're going to just put here a little, all right? It's 4 letters, all right? And the second letter is a vowel, and that's the only vowel in it, okay? And so it's actually, yeah, that's it. And it's actually related to another type of amphibian. They're pretty much the same, and you can see them all over the Hudson Valley. You used to see them all over New York State, but not in every place in New York State, not in the city anymore because of the pollution. However, upstate New York, you see them a lot, and they're bright orange, all right?
The last word of their common name is new, and the first word of their common name is Easter.
Did anyone guess what it is? If you guessed Easter Newt, then you're absolutely right. So it's Newt, N-E-W-T, all right? So that's the first animal we're gonna see. We're gonna see an Easter Newt, or it's called a red spotted newt. Easter Newt, N-E-W-T, or a red spotted newt. Red spotted newt, that's the other name for it. Okay, that's the first animal we're gonna see. So remember that, and we're gonna erase this board right now. Woo. Right, remember that, and we're gonna erase it. So that's the first animal that we're gonna see. One of the first animals we're gonna see. And we're also gonna see another type of animal that looks like a newt, but it's not, but it also has spots. And so instead of red spots, it has yellow spots. And it is called a yellow spotted something. All right, so do you know what it is? Okay, if you're not sure what it is, I'm gonna tell you in a second. It is the spotted salamander. And it's Salamander, D-E-R. Okay, cool. Salamander, mander. Yep, that's correct. Salamander. I feel like I'm missing an A, but I'm not. Salamander. Interesting. So we're gonna see a yellow spotted salamander, but actually we'll see some videos of that, and we will actually during our hike see the actual eggs from the yellow spotted salamander, and we even have some mystery eggs, and we're gonna see one more amphibian, and then we're gonna jump in. So y'all ready? Next one is gonna be, let's erase this. Y'all got it? Yellow spotted salamander, Eastern Newt, are the two animals we're gonna see so far. So let's erase this board one more time. And then for the last and final animal that we're gonna see today is going to be, actually no, I can't give it away like that, that'll give it away too easily. It's another type of amphibian. Actually, how about this? We've already named one type of amphibian, or this is considered two, but salamanders and newts are very similar. So we'll talk about that during a hike. However, this next amphibian we're gonna see lives in the company of salamanders and newts. Can you guys guess what it is? Alright, so it's something frog. Alright? Can you guess what it is? What's the color of the leaves of the trees? Well, it could be any color, but green. So it's green frog, G-R-E-E-N, green frog. So we're gonna see green frog, spotted salamander, and the Eastern newt. And we also can learn a little bit about the scientific name of it. But before we learn the scientific name about those animals, let's go on our hike now. We'll learn about the science stuff later, so say goodbye to that. And now it's time for us to go on a hike. And one more thing, we're also going to get a chance to observe the eggs, the embryos. So we're going to observe eggs, and we'll learn a little bit about metamorphosis, but we'll learn about that next time. So eggs, we're going to see eggs, and then we're going to learn a little bit about metamorphosis. Metamorphosis. So remember this word, P-H-O-S-I-S. Metamorphosis. All right, so remember that. Remember that word, eggs, metamorphosis, and now it's time for us to go out into the field! Hey everybody, welcome. It's Erik the Reptile Guy, and I'm really excited to be here with you all today to share with you some amazing animals and ponds. So to my left right here, there's a pond right there. And in that pond right there, that pond is full of salamanders and tadpoles and newts and fish and all sorts of life, and even crayfish are in there too as well. I saw some the other day. However, what's so special about this pond is that this is one of many ponds that are in the Hudson Valley that contain tons of amphibians, and amphibians are one of the few animals during this period of time that are at the height of the highest level of becoming extinct. Now I know that's not good news, but the good news is that there's something we can all do to make sure that these animals stay here for years to come, and that's by using earth-friendly things. So we like to remind you to make sure you use earth-friendly things throughout the show, and we're going to start with a pledge. So here's the pledge right now. So everyone raise your right hand and say, I promise to always do my very best to use earth-friendly things. And if you do that, we'll have a nice healthy earth, and we'll have lots of amphibians and animals for years and years to come. So now we're gonna look inside the pond, and we're gonna observe the actual eggs of salamanders that were laid from about 30 days ago that are getting ready to hatch and have started to hatch already. And we're gonna explore that right now. So let's go dive into the pond. Not literally, but we're gonna go check it out.
This is the actual pond where we've been observing spotted salamanders, red salamanders, eastern newts, green frogs, and bunches of eggs for the past 8 weeks. We utilized an underwater camera to get amazing footage of all the eggs. Right here, this one right here. This is the eggs I was looking at. This one right here. This is day number 46. If you look very closely off to the left, you can see one of the embryos actually moving around. 46 days earlier, this is what the eggs look like. You can see the eggs are round and small, and this is just before the cells of the embryo started to divide. This is before they had arms and legs and paddle tails and even gills that larval stage salamanders will have, as we'll see soon enough.
Oh yeah, they're growing a lot.
Now we're going to take a moment to observe a video of who exactly laid these eggs. During the first rains of spring, an amazing migration happens. One of the first salamanders to arrive to the vernal ponds every spring is the spotted salamander, scientifically known as Ambystoma maculatum. Many organizations, including the Department of Environmental Conservation, arrange salamander crossing nights and amphibian crossing nights so that way they can safely cross the roads during rainy nights. Once the salamanders migrate to the pond, they begin to immediately start to meet each other. Hello, 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 hello. Shortly after that, the males begin to deposit what are called spermatophores. If you look closely at the video, you'll notice little white projections on top of the leaves. Those are spermatophores. The female salamander uses her back legs to locate a spermatophore. She will utilize it to fertilize her eggs. If you look just above all of the salamanders, there's actually a clear egg mass that was recently laid. Each egg mass can contain at least 100 eggs. Once the eggs are fertilized, the female will begin to search for suitable branches to deposit her eggs.
So Eric, how do salamanders mate?
Okay, so what actually happens when the salamanders these are salamanders, but they're considered newts, and so a newt is a salamander that has rough skin rather than smooth, slimy skin. And so the newts actually they use their back feet to hold on, rather than like with frogs, it's called the Amplexus, or the frogs or toads. They grab the female using nuptial spines or nuptial pads on their feet, and they hold the female really tight, and this stimulates the female to drop the eggs, and then they start to drop the eggs and they fertilize it externally. Where with the newts, what I've observed is that the newts actually use their back feet to grab on to the female by the head, which is really strange. And then the newt will actually use the tail to drift pheromones towards the female's face to stimulate the female to want to lay their eggs. And so it's really an interesting way that they do it, but they use their back feet. In fact, the back feet sometimes, I actually saw just recently that the
that the back feet of the salamander looked really swollen, the newt. It looked really swollen. And I said, oh, what's wrong with it? Maybe it's because there's pesticides or something like that, because it was in a pond that had a lot of algae. So sometimes when you use too much pesticides, you get algal blooms, and that's from a eutrophic lake or a eutrophic pond, or from eutrophism. And eutrophism is when you have too much fertilizer, and then the plants that usually suck up the fertilizer have used as much as they can, and then now there's excess floating around, not being used, and then the algae uses it and starts to bloom. And so anyway, we saw a salamander like that, and a newt like that. I keep saying salamander, but a newt like that, and the back feet were swollen. I'm like, oh no, it must be because it's eutrophic, but it really isn't. It's because when they become mature, when they go to mate, during the mating season, the back legs get swollen, because that's where the strength is. They got to hold on really tight. And the same thing actually happens with an interesting frog from Costa Rica called the smoky jungle frog, but it happens with the front legs. The male's front legs get really big and strong, and they get nuptial spines. It's really strange. Amphibians are really amazing. They go through all these weird things, but like that's one of the things that I just learned actually this year about the newt. So the reason I'm saying that is like, yeah, I'm an expert on amphibians and reptiles. However, if you want to become an expert, a real expert is constantly learning. You never stop learning. You always learn new things, and that's what keeps it fun. That's why I love doing herpetology and studying reptiles and amphibians, because it's constantly, you're always learning, and there's so many different types that you can always learn something new every single day. So just keep learning, having fun. That's it.
Hey everybody, it's Erik the Reptile Guy, and welcome to our program. I'm super duper excited to share with you because today we're gonna meet turtles. Now, one of my favorite animals since I was a little boy was turtles, and today we're gonna focus on turtles, but we're gonna focus really on one primary species during this program, and that's gonna be the painted turtle. There it is, painted turtle. Now, painted turtles are amazing because painted turtles, first of all, well, that was the first turtle I ever saw in the wild. Actually, maybe the second. I can't remember if it was the first or the second. I was at camp, at the Fresh Air Fun camp at a lake, and I ran to go look at them, and they all jumped in the water. And I figured, I guess they don't want to be friends with me. So it was pretty funny. But actually, that trip, I actually caught one, and it was a life lesson. I didn't really understand that you can't catch turtles. My counselor tried to explain to me, but I couldn't get it until later on. Until actually now I understand why it's not a good idea to catch animals, and we'll talk about that later. But right now, we're gonna go out into the wild and see the painted turtles out in the wild with our friend Carol. All right, so let's go.
Hey, Erik.
Hey, hey Carol.
How are you?
Really good. I'm excited because we're at the turtle pond now, and so
I'm going to show people where we are.
this is the habitat of the painted turtle. A painted turtle is a type of basking turtle that spends most of their time basking in the sun.
So what are we doing today?
So today we're looking for painted turtles, and this is such a special day for me because I was thinking last night about us doing this and about us searching for turtles and animals, and turtles were the first animal that I found when I was a kid, when I was in camp. And I remember I wanted to catch them so bad. I was like, I want to catch the turtles. And so we would actually catch turtles in the pond. And when I was in camp, and then my counselor made me actually put it back because I wanted to keep them. And it's really special because now as an adult, I realize that, you know, it's not really best to catch the animals. It's best to like leave them and observe them. So, you know, so I made it a promise to myself to make sure that on top of following my dreams and enjoying nature, to actually make sure that this season that I won't touch any wild animals unless they're in danger or like crossing the road or something. So I made this promise to myself for this season, and I made this promise actually 3 years ago. And since 3 years ago, I've not really interacted with animals in the same way. I've given them their space and respect, and because of that, we're able to observe awesome videos and see like their actual lives and how they live, and just like, so I would want respect for my life, so I want to give the respect to them. So it's been really cool. So we got some tools that we can actually see them from a distance. So you guys, if you want to see turtles out in the distance, you use binoculars so you can see them really close up. And then we have a camera. This camera, the Sony cameras, they have a what do you call it? A 30x zoom, so you can see it 30 times closer. So we're about 30 feet away from this turtle, so we can get really, the turtle we're looking at right now, we can actually see it really closely, and that is a painted turtle. And
why is it important not to touch them, Eric? In this day and age, like, is there viruses that humans have that we could give to turtles or wildlife?
Well, this is the thing. So, can you give a virus to a turtle? The answer, that my first inclination is no. There's nothing that can transmit really that's zoonotic from people to reptiles. However, the other way around, yes, there's like salmonella and things that turtles can carry that can be transferred back. But like, if you wash your hands in between, you don't have to. That's not the concern. But the deeper concern is something that's really not been studied. That people really, scientists have recently studied it. In fact, it was in the journal Psychology. It was about reptile sentience and how reptiles and amphibians have feelings just like people do and have the same emotions. And it was a whole study they did on emotions, how they feel. And so the reason I've come to this even stronger about touching them is because, not because I'm worried about getting a disease, because I wash my hands, but more because I really don't want to disturb the animal's life. So I thought maybe if like if I'm in my home and I'm having my breakfast and suddenly, or I'm just chilling out and sitting in a chair in my backyard. That's a green frog in the background.
I hear.
And I'm sitting in my backyard and I'm just having fun. And then suddenly, someone opens the door and just drags me out, that I don't know, some stranger, and then takes me out and like takes pictures of me and props me up on a
That's a really good analogy.
Photos, and then brings me back, and I'm like traumatized, like, what the heck just happened?
Yeah, that's a good analogy. It's so scary.
Imagine, So that's I think it was a long roundabout answer, but really that's where it's so important to respect the animal. So I think now we should do the pledge, you all. So we do the pledge every single time. So everybody say, I promise.
I promise.
To always.
Do
my very best.
Do my very best.
To follow my dreams. Have fun. Be happy. Respect nature. And use earth-friendly things.
Is a turtle a reptile or is it an amphibian?
The turtles are reptiles. They're certainly reptiles. They're aquatic reptiles. So I think that sometimes, occasionally, there's confusion about the difference between reptiles and amphibians, because amphibians begin their lives in water, and so because an amphibian begins their life in water, and some reptiles live in water. So when you see an aquatic reptile, you might believe that reptile is a amphibian. So a turtle is an amphibious reptile. So they have paddle feet. They have these flat shells. This particular species of turtle is a basking turtle. So any turtle not any turtle that basks in the sun, but these are specifically basking turtles. And you know how I know that? I'm going to show you how right now. You ready?
What is that?
This here is my first National Geographic that I got in 1986 when I was like 8 years old.
Oh my gosh, it's so old that the cover's torn off.
Yeah. Actually, to be honest, it is because it's so like torn off. But I got so excited by seeing it again. I'm like, oh my gosh, and I picked it up. This National Geographic changed my life. I was in special ed class when I was in from 2nd to 5th grade because I had behavior issues. And so my counselor made me a deal that if I behaved in class, that he would give me he would order me a National Geographic subscription for a year. And so he got it for me. And then when I got it, the first one I got, this is the first issue. Now imagine the first issue that I get. I tell my counselor I love animals, and then I get this issue, and I specifically love reptiles. And when I open it up, on the cover it was this it was like a kind of like a rodeo thing happening on the cover. But then when I opened it up, there was a whole article on freshwater turtles.
Wow.
And I was so thrilled. I was a little boy. And I said, I want to do that. I want to swim like this guy is swimming with the turtles in the Chattanooga River. So I did my 5th grade science project on the anatomy of turtles. And the pet turtle I got for my birthday unfortunately passed away because, the pet stores don't give you all the information about how to take care of it the best way possible.